Everybody, hello and welcome to another awesome video about math for you rock stars out there. Today we're going to talk about creating ratio tables to find missing values. I got some videos out there about ratios. I got some videos out there about unit rates. I got some videos out there about ratio tables already. This one we're going to be creating a ratio table so that we can find a missing value. Hey, what did the tornado say to the sports car? You want to go for a spin? Round, round we go, tornadoes. All right, let's rock and roll. All right, so today's target is we are going to be creating a ratio table when we're given two quantities and then use that to find some missing values. That is our overall goal for this video. Shouldn't take us terribly long to get through this. Let's lock in. Let's dial it in. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Okay, so let's review what a ratio table is. All right, it's a comparison of any two values, okay? So, and they let us explore proportional relationships that are related to the initial ratio. So whatever we're given, that first ratio of like 3 apples to 7 oranges, they let us explore the proportional relationships related to that. All right, so maybe in the past you've looked at patterns in tables and used addition to find the patterns. Ratio tables work with multiplication, okay? So this table shows adding 8 to each x to get y. So if you look at this, we added 8 from one to the other. We added 8 to get to one to the other. We added 8. We added 8. So you see the pattern. It uses a pattern of addition. Okay. So 2/10, 4/12. So if we want to see if they are proportional, they have to be related to each other through multiplication. So we could say, take this 2/10 right here, put it there. And we take 4/12 and we put it there. And then we compare them. You know, for them to be proportional, they have to be equivalent fractions. So I multiplied the top by 2 times 2, and I multiplied the bottom times 1.2, which means they are not proportional. This would not work, okay? Ratio tables use multiplication as the tool. So just a quick look at this one. If we multiply the top, so in other words, if we multiplied 2, what did we multiply by? We multiplied by 5. All right, so that means if this is a ratio table and it's set up to be a proportional relationship, everything else must be multiplied by that same number, going from x to y. Multiply the left by 5, you get 15. Multiply the left by 5, you get 20. Multiply the left by 5, 5 times 5 is 25. So they all multiplied by the same number, going from x to y, which means it has 4 equivalent fractions, which means, yes, it is a proportional relationship. And just as a note, you can go the opposite direction as well. You could have said, what did we divide by to get to there? Go that direction. We divided by 5, and we got 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Okay, so when we're dealing with proportions, it's multiplication or division, not addition and subtraction. All right, so let's make a ratio table. Okay, so if we have a ratio of 3 to 9, we can go ahead and set this table up like this. Now remember, we can go up and down or we can go side to side. In this case, we're going up and down with our ratio table. All right, and then we say, what do we multiply 3 by to get to 9? So this was the initial ratio they gave us. Remember earlier on I said the initial ratio? The initial ratio was 3 to 9. Okay, so in this case, what did we multiply the 3 by to get to the 9? Well, we multiplied by 3. And that tells us that we need to multiply everything else by what? By 3. That's right. So this is how you make your table. Okay, so we multiply the 4 by 3. You multiply the 5 by 3. You multiply the 6 by 3. And you could even come down here and say, what about 100? Wonder what that would have been. Well, if you multiplied it by 3, you would have got, that would have been 300. So this is a proportional relationship. All right, so next is how can we use that proportional relationship to find other values, okay? So now, let's say we got a real scenario here. It costs $25 to buy 5 DVDs. Well, what if you only want to purchase 2? Or what if I want 12? What if I want 32 DVDs? Well, a ratio table can help you figure that out. So let's set up our table. Remember I said sometimes we go up and down, sometimes we go side to side. I like the side to side better. I think it's just kind of easier to work with, but they both work exactly the same. All right, so what do you do first? Well, what we need to do is say, notice that I put 5 spaces here, and we only need 2, 12, we already know 5, and 32. I put 5 spaces here, and some of you can probably guess why right now, but I wonder why I did that. All right, so what we do is you fill out on the top the numbers that you need. Like I need to know what 5 DVDs cost. I need to know what 2. I need to know what 12. I need to know what 32. I label the side of my table over here. I make sure I label it. The top row is DVDs, and the next row is the cost in dollars. Okay, and then I fill in all the information I know. That's the most important thing to figure out. This is the initial ratio. The thing that we know is that $25 for 5 DVDs. And that's what this is right here, okay? $25 for 5 DVDs, okay? If the unit rate is not given, find it. You'll hear me say this in so many videos when you're dealing with proportions. Find the unit rate. Find the unit rate. Don't be lazy. Find the unit rate. Okay, so we need to find the cost of one DVD. So remember, when you're trying to find a unit rate, you want to turn one of the columns into one of these being a 1 here or a 1 here. And you just got to kind of ask yourself, what am I trying to find? Do I want to know how many DVDs I can buy for $1? Or do I want to know how much one DVD costs? Well, in this situation, we want to know what one DVD costs. So we put the 1 in the DVD column, okay? And then how did I get from the given, which was the 5, to the 1? Well, I divided by 5. And what do we know about proportional tables? Whatever you do to one, you have to do to the other. So if I divided 5 by 1, I need to divide 25 by 5. So see how I'm dividing by the same number in both spots? So what is 25 divided by 5? Well, that is 5. So now we know one DVD costs $5. Pretty cool, huh? Now that we know our knowledge of ratio tables, we can go ahead and solve the rest of this ratio table. What's the next thing we want to know? Well, we want to know how much 2 DVDs cost, remember? So we put the 2 in the top. And how did I get from my unit rate to the 2? Well, I multiplied by 2. So what do I do if I multiply the top by 2? Well, I multiply the bottom by 2 to get to that same section of my ratio table. And what is 5 times 2? It is 10. Look how cool this is. It's real easy with the unit rate, right? Now I want to figure out how much 12 DVDs are. Well, how did I get from the 1 to the 12? You guessed it, I multiplied by 12. So that means I need to multiply the bottom of my unit rate by 12 so that I can get to the value of the ratio that goes with 12. All right, so that space, in other words. And what is 5 times 12? Well, it is 60. Oh my gosh, we're solving this so easy. Unit rates, they're amazing, and they work wonders in the ratio table. How did I get from the 1 from 1 DVD to 32 DVDs? Well, I multiplied by 32. So that means I have to multiply the 5 by 32. And I'm not going to write this out and do the whole thing. If you're allowed to use a calculator, use it. If you're not allowed, solve it on your piece of paper. But I'll go ahead and tell you, it equals 60 bucks. So if you have a ratio table, to review, fill out your ratio table. Leave a space for a 1 if it's not given. Okay, if it doesn't give you the unit rate, leave a space on your table for the unit rate. Then plug in what you know. What is our initial ratio, which was the $25 for 5 DVDs. And then the other spots that are empty, fill in the ones that you need. In this case, we needed the whole top because we were just trying to figure out all these different scenarios of DVDs. So we put 5 DVDs, which was given. We wanted to know how much 2 cost, how much 12 cost, and how much 32 cost. And then finally, we left this blank because we always know we want to get to the unit rate. We always want to get to the unit rate. We always want to get to the unit rate. Good job. All right, so creating ratio tables. Let's fill out some notes. Ratio tables are a way to blank the blank relationship between 2 quantities. Well, it's a way to describe the proportional relationship between 2 quantities. So a ratio table shows us 5 DVDs cost $25. 1 DVD costs $5. 2 DVDs cost $10. It's a way to describe that relationship. Ratio tables only use multiplication or division to define the rule between X and Y. And I say X and Y, but in that last situation, it really wasn't X and Y. It was DVDs and money. And it could be a bunch of different things. But it's how we compare those two is we have to use multiplication and division. If the blank is not given, find it. I mean, I sang this song to you. Get that unit rate. Boom, boom. Get that unit rate. All right, and finally, to find the missing value, use the get that unit rate. Boom, boom. Get that unit. Yeah, use the unit rate. It just makes life so much easier. Okay? All right, I think you're ready to rock and roll. Go create some ratio tables. Live it up. Hey, do you know what kind of tree can fit into your hand? A palm tree.